folk, brothers and sisters, how are you doing? Good morning. Good morning. All right. So my name is Rick Kittles. I have to correct something that Frankie said. I'm not the director of the University of Chicago Cancer Research Center. I'm just an associate director, not the director, though. The director actually is here, so I have to acknowledge the director, Dr. Michelle LeBeau. Quite supportive of all of our efforts here in the community. And before I took this job here at the University of Chicago, I sat and talked with her, and she said, yeah, we really would like for you to work with the community and become this arm for the Cancer Research Center in the community. And I said, sure, because why? Because I love the community. And in particular, I love the kids. And I'm so excited that the kids are here. This actually is the 7th Cancer Forum that we've had here at DuSable Museum of African American History. And we're so excited to partner with them for 7 quarters. That's actually 2 years worth of programming on cancer in the community. And one of the things we said as we started engaging the community, we were getting feedback from you guys, and everybody was talking about diet, nutrition, and nutrition. We want to know more about how to eat to stay healthy, right? And so we said, okay, well, how can we engage these kids? How can we get the kids involved in this stuff? Because guess what? It starts when you're young. It starts when you're young. I grew up on pork chops. No, let me stop. Nah, but one of the things that's very important to understand is that, you know, these behaviors we learn. Just like you inherit DNA, and then sometimes that DNA can give you risk for disease, you inherit behavior. Behaviors like, you know, eating greasy foods and fatty meats and too much dairy, all of that stuff. And so we said, well, we should develop some programming to talk to the students, the young folk. And so we're excited. We said the best way to do that is do it competitively. Because we like competition. We know the kids like competition. You guys like to win stuff, right? Yeah. You guys like to work hard, right? Yeah. So the best way to do it is to compete. So we said we're going to get some of the best high schools for this first annual Nutrition Knowledge Bowl to compete. And I tell you right now, folks, we got some of the best kids right here in the audience in this entire city right now. So excited, so excited. I'm so excited to see these kids, see these young faces. And I'm even more excited to see all these faces in the back, because we've actually filled this room to capacity. And that means that not only do you guys care about good nutrition, but you care about the kids. Care about the kids. Give yourself a round of applause. Real quickly, before we get into the game, we're going to give you a little bit of background on nutrition, because this is what some of the kids are going to be competing on, some of the knowledge that a young lady who's a part of my lab at the University of Chicago, and who also is the brainchild for this program. Young lady from Ohio, Dayton, Ohio, Nefertiti OGNG Deca. Give her a round of applause, y'all. Come on. Okay. Where's the photographer? I want this picture.
Okay.
Before we get started though, I want to tell y'all that we have a lot of prizes for not just the students, but for the audience. And so Frankie's gonna come back shortly. Not right this second, Frankie, just relax. She's ready to get back up here. She's gonna come back shortly and give out some more prizes. So without any further ado, let's get it going.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. We are so excited that the event day is finally here. I've been working with the teams, going to the schools, seeing happy faces, studying students, and so now we're finally here game day. How do you guys feel, teams? You're good? All right, okay. So I wanted to be fair. So I wanted to give the audience a little background information on some of the information that we gave the students to study. They received study booklets, which we took the questions from. So this is material that they've actually seen before. All the questions, you know, they have gotten from study material. So we wanted to give you a little bit of background information, so I'm going to go through, give a really, really brief presentation, and then we're going to move forward with the game. Is that okay with everybody? All right, let's get started. So first and foremost, metabolism. So metabolism is the process of extracting the nutrients that we eat or nutrients from the food that we eat. So that's very, very important for several reasons, right? It's important because we need to fuel our bodies, and it's also important because we're warm-blooded mammals, right? So I'm a biologist, right? So we're animals, and so we need to maintain our body temperatures. 98.6 degrees, is that familiar to people? That comes from our metabolism. So not only does it pull nutrients out of our food, but it also helps us to maintain that temperature so that we can do what we need to do throughout the day. The other thing that's important about metabolism and understanding what we eat are the major groups, right? So there's a major epidemic in the United States right now with obesity and overweightness, right? A lot of people are struggling with that. And so it's important to understand not only what the food groups are, but how much you should be eating from each food groups. So the major group are carbohydrates, their proteins, and their fats. And then you have the smaller groups, what we call micronutrients, right, which are your vitamins and your minerals. The teams have seen this, right? Your vitamins like A and B, right? Your minerals like zinc and calcium and iron. So we need all those things for our bodies to function properly. So when I say proteins, when I first asked the teams what proteins were, I got some really interesting answers, right? So we're going to clear that up for everybody in the auditorium today, right? So when we say proteins, what we're referring to are your lean meats, okay, like your poultry, lean beef, right? Even red meat, even though I have my own biases, right, with pork. But the beef, okay? You can also get protein from dairy products like cheese and milk, all right? Poultry is also protein. And then you have this group here, which are called legumes. They're vegetable sources of protein. Whole populations of people in the world get most of their protein out of legumes. They eat chickpeas and beans and lentils. So you can be a vegetarian and still get your necessary amounts of protein. You don't have to eat meat, so that's very important to remember. You want to hit it again? All right, carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are the group normally that get most people in trouble. Everybody love their carbs, right? So you love your potato chips, the potatoes, the rice, the pasta, the cake, the pie, right? All of those are carbohydrates, all right? What's important to remember about carbohydrates are there are two main groups. You have what we call complex carbohydrates, and you have simple carbohydrates, all right? Complex carbohydrates and simple carbohydrates are both sugars. Carbohydrate is another word for sugars, okay? And so you get complex carbohydrates from breads, all right? From different types of grains, pasta, potatoes. And then simple carbohydrates are like your table sugar or syrup or what's found in fruit. You can hit the next slide. And so the difference between the complex carbohydrates and the simple carbohydrates, all right, are right here. I don't know if you can see that very clearly, but that says glucose. Glucose is our body's gas. It's what we run off of. That's what flows through the bloodstream in order to power your cells, okay? You have to have glucose in order to function. And when you eat complex carbohydrates, you get a lot of glucose molecules. They're chained up all together in these big, huge masses, all right? But when you eat simple carbohydrates, like table sugar or syrup, you get about 2. That's what we call a disaccharide. So you get a lot less bang for your buck. So it's very important that when you go to sit down to eat, you don't replace your meals, right? You don't replace your complex carbohydrates with simple, so you don't have cake for dinner. It's all right to have cake, but you don't want to have cake for dinner. Does that make sense? You guys follow?